independent. I don't think there's a huge amount of difference these days. I mean, clearly there are other independents out there. I'm trying to think of some of the other names. Do you mind? Can you just give me 30 seconds while I grab my laptop?
Yes,
Is that okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, sorry, I'm back. So
yeah.
Obviously I haven't been in this industry for about 2.5 years now, so things do move on. But there's another company called HH Global. Do you know of HH Global?
Yes, I heard. I think are they in EMEA?
So they're in EMEA. They're based in I think headquartered out of London, but also quite a big operation. They are still independent. You've got a company called Oliver Marketing, which is also London-based, but has increasingly got more of a global footprint. They're also starting to create, quite interestingly, in-house client operations as well. So I guess before it used to be pretty black and white. Companies would either do it through an agency or keep it in-house, or they would outsource. But now you're seeing companies like Oliver who offer both outsourcing capabilities, but also they will set up basically in-house agencies on behalf of the client with proximity to the client, physical proximity, to reduce, obviously, lines of communication and create even more efficiencies. You've got a couple of other smaller independents in London. One is called Friedman International. Another one is called Splash. Don't know if you've heard of them.
No. They're all smaller players compared to...
Yeah, they're all smaller players, but they're all growing. And I guess back to my earlier point, I do think you'll see more consolidation, and I'm guessing anybody who's building one of these smaller players right now, whether it be Splash or whether it be Friedman International or whether it be Oliver, I mean, ultimately I'm assuming their objective is to be acquired by one of the bigger players, right? So,
okay. Yeah. So, but it sounds when we mention all those relatively, I would say, small players, that it's a lot about relationship. Or how does this? I mean, how do those businesses just start in the first place? Is it like larger firm in the business? Or?
Yeah, I think it depends. I mean, I think a lot of people have obviously got a lot of experience in the creative or in the production space. They may have been part of a production department in an agency, or they may have been client side even. I think what's really changed now is that historically a lot of these conversations would have been had, within the client organization. They would have been had predominantly with the marketing department, whereas I think now these conversations are often had with both marketing and procurement. And if anything, procurement is probably more influential in this space now within client organizations than marketing. Having said that, I think marketing and procurement now have a much more common agenda. I think historically marketing was driven by quality and procurement was driven by price. And I would argue that they are now both equally focused on both quality and price. So I think, in my experience, I often found myself sat in front of both the CPO and the CMO at the same time. And it was often a conversation where you were having to convince the CMO of your ability to deliver in terms of obviously quality and speed of execution and deployment, and you were convincing the CPO about, price, efficiency, cost savings, etc.
But traditionally, you would speak to the chief purchasing officer for the procurement sourcing kind of business, and to the chief marketing officer for the kind of more value-added creative production piece, or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think if you're talking about just sourcing, or you're just talking about print production, or you're just talking about document management, then you're probably going to be talking to a CPO only. If you're talking about, the outsourcing and production of advertising materials or point-of-sale materials or digital content or video or film, then obviously you're much more likely to be talking to both